more than 500 days since now 13-year-old Madalena Cojocari was last seen. In fact, these are the last images of her getting off her school bus in Cornelius in November of 2022. It is a case we've covered extensively since Madalena disappeared.
Today, her parents, stepfather Christopher Palmer and her mother Diana Cojocari will be in separate courtrooms charged in connection to Madalena's disappearance. Caroline Hicks is live from Uptown Charlotte with more on what we can expect today in court. Caroline.
Well, I am outside the Mecklenburg County Courthouse, where in just a few hours, officers are expected to escort Madalena Cojocari's mother, Diana, from the jail to this courthouse for her arraignment. At the same time, Madalena Cojocari's stepfather, Christopher Palmer, is set to begin his trial for failing to report her missing. Again, both of these cases separate, both happening today. Now, both are charged with failing to report Madalena missing. Christopher Palmer has been out on bond since last August. Madalena was just 11 years old when she disappeared in November 2022, but her parents did not report her missing until 3 weeks later, when school officials began asking questions and contacted police. Investigators arrested the couple 2 days later. According to police, officers interviewed both of them. Neither provided information on where Madalena was. Now, over the last week, there have been several subpoenas served and motions filed leading up to the trial, including a motion to dismiss. We also saw a notice of intent to introduce evidence from Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools. There are expert witnesses expected to testify from the FBI with specialties in digital forensics. That's likely going to be information obtained from cell phones and computers. Now, in January of last year, search warrants in the case were unsealed. We know investigators took 3 iPhones from the family's home in Cornelius. Investigators say they went into the home to look for things like bodily fluids, hair, or chemicals that can be used for cleaning blood. They were also looking for any travel documents, receipts, or notes, as well as any possible weapons. In all, officers took 25 items from that home. Shortly after that, we spoke with retired LAPD officer Jerry Rodriguez, who gave us an idea of what investigators were looking for.
We know that the stepfather drove out of state during that time. What communication was had, what information, what discussions and or texts. And that's what I believe they're trying to get. They're going to look for pictures. They're going to look for messages. They're going to look for pinging directions, where they were, anything and everything relating to that phone, its location, where they were at particular timelines, when you match it to the timeline of her disappearance.
Again, Christopher Palmer's trial is set to begin today. He has pleaded not guilty. Meanwhile, her mother, Diana Cojocari, is set to be arraigned, meaning she's supposed to enter a plea as well. We're going to have more on that in the next 30 minutes. Back to you.